Mm-hmm.
The WNBA season kicked off as well.
Yes.
Over the weekend, you had the Indiana Fever against the Chicago Sky, and of course, the headlines always generate to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, as the game is going on, it's just basketball. It's just basketball. But then late in that fourth quarter, Caitlin gets a flagrant foul on Angel Reese. Angel Reese gets upset. She hops up. She charges her. Really, she looked like she's ready to go give her some. But what has become of that is now this Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark beef that has now been blown up to the next level. The question is now out there, does Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark hate each other? And even greater than that, the question is, does Angel Reese hate Caitlin? You don't never said it here, does Caitlin
Right.
hate Angel Reese? So, man, the question I want to throw at you right now. Obviously, I think we both agree on that, man. We love that there is a beef between the two of them because that's competitive basketball. But my first question for you is, man, is Angel Reese being treated fairly in a sense because she's being attacked for her position in their relationship?
Man, hey, I think it's a love-hate thing. Goes back to them when they was in college. Caitlin gave her a hard foul. She got up. I don't think the American public is used to seeing women give hard fouls in games, but I mean, it does happen. Us basketball players know that, nothing was maliciously done. It was just, I'm giving you a hard foul. I don't care who you is. And Caitlin, Angel Reese took offense to that a little bit. So
And see, I agree with you on that. I think both plays needed to happen. We say this all the time. No easy buckets in the game of basketball. That's what we say. At the same time, if you and I get fouled like that, we coming at you.
yeah,
We ain't smiling.
yeah,
But of course, and that's what I wanted to jump to, of course, because it's Caitlin and it's Angel, it's going to get blown up to the next level. And man, there's been so much talk out there about these two. One, I do feel a little sorry for Angel because she's getting racist threats thrown at her that I think is unwarranted for any
yeah,
athlete. And I hate to see it happen for Caitlin because she has to, not be a basketball player and deal with how do you feel about those racist threats thrown at Angel. Now she has to defend that. So I'm like, let these women play. But my question for you is this, and you was touching on it a little bit earlier. Why is it that we can't see the women's game in this light? Because it ain't just with Angel and Caitlin where there's beef in terms of just their aggression and fouling hard. We even seen it in tennis with Serena Williams when she used to get angry, upset, and going off like people almost like, that's not ladylike. You ain't supposed to have this level of aggression. Why can't we see women this very day and age, as athletic as they are, as gifted as they are, why do you think there is still an issue with seeing them as true athletes? Or is there an issue?
Well, it's an issue for this new age generation who's just start watching NBA basketball and women's sports. Period. All my life, I've seen women from the high school level, college level, you know, have they interactions with whatever issues going on the court. Uh, I think just the history that Caitlin and Angel Reese has carried over into the NBA. So the media wants to hype that, black versus white. The media don't care about nothing but, just putting stuff out, no matter whether it's true or not. They just want to start a dialogue of something. And Angel Reese is going to be on the bad end of that. She's going to be asked questions about Caitlin Clark. Is Caitlin Clark being asked questions about Angel Reese and all of that? So it's a double-edged sword where Angel is going to have to just deal with this for the rest of her life. But I think it's still good for the game though. There's other skirmishes that happened in the WNBA. When they kicked it off. Like there was I think a game between Minnesota and somebody where there was a little skirmish or whatever. The girl pushed her or whatever, but they didn't blow that up like that. That took one of the girls from off ESPN to bring that up, but she said it, because it's Caitlin and Angel Reese, it's gonna get magnified.
Now, I just got to ask you this because I agree with every statement you just said. It's being magnified, but also I want to ask you this: we've been seeing footage of, when Angel got basically manhandled and tackled last year. People are saying, well, she didn't jump up in her face, but because it's Caitlin, she jumped up in her face. What is your response when someone say that, okay, for example, they even use LeBron James in this example. They would say, well, if Dwayne Wade fouled LeBron James hard, he ain't getting in, Dwayne Wade's face, but let it be somebody else, LeBron's going to get up in their face. Do you think there's some truth to it, that there is some level of hatred there toward Caitlin? Even though they're competitors, do you think there's a level of, I just don't like you as a basketball player. I don't want to have nothing to do with you as a basketball player.
I don't want to say hate. Hate is too strong of a word for us. Not.
You ain't never hated anybody you played against?
I disliked them. Never hated them. I respected them. And liked them. I mean, I respected them and disliked them, but I never hated them. Hate is too strong of a word, especially what we got going on in this world today, divisiveness and all of that.
Absolutely.
I think you want to bring the best out of your competitors when you're going against the best. And I think having a little dislike there kind of helps that.
Absolutely.
You come through the lane, go back to Magic and Isaiah Thomas. Hell, they kiss on the side of the cheek before a game. And what Magic Johnson do? Let me lay Isaiah out. Let him know, like, that friendship when we on the court, that's gone out the door. I'm gonna play you just like anybody else. I love that.
I think that's what we're missing. I think the basketball is being taken out of this situation. I think we need to keep the basketball in it because at the end of the day, you brought up a perfect example. Isaiah and Magic, they were best friends.
Friend.
But because of the game that they love, they on the opposite sides. And sometimes what happens is if you're the best of friend in the game of basketball and you're on the opposite sides, it can strain the relationship. That happens in the game because if you're going to win, you got to choose your team, your school, your teammates over your opponent.
Yep.
And I look at what my only concern for both of these young ladies is that they're not being allowed to just be athletes. And I think this is kind of interesting because, for years we've been hearing how the game is soft, that, the game doesn't, the girls aren't doing this. And even from the men's side, the men, they're too friendly. And now you got a rivalry that is brewed, that has been brewing since college, maybe even AAU, now is happening, and we're saying, whoa, wait a minute now. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. But I love what they're doing. But I will say this, I hope that the media, and when I'm talking about media, I'm talking about the self-proclaimed medias out there, that they don't turn this into a race issue. Because these are two young women, very gifted at their sport, just out here competing. And guess what? There's going to be some hard fouls. There's going to be some flagrant fouls. There's going to be some trips. There's going to be some shoving. I mean, right before the play, Angel pushed, the girl that was guarding her to even get the rebound. I mean, this is...
Yep, sure did.
This is the game of basketball. But we got to allow them to be athletes.
Got to allow them to be athletes, man. And, I think the national media who covers the WNBA, not that social media bullshit who... any willy-nilly can come on and have a comment. I'm talking about the national media who covers the WNBA in all these cities who have WNBA teams. I think they have a responsibility to convey what they see and how they write it. I think they have definitely a responsibility, and their responsibility is they can curb some of that get it, don't turn it into something that it's not.
Right, getting it out, making it's getting blown out of proportion. As a matter of fact, I want to shout out the WNBA because they did. They hopped on it right away because Angel, again, like I said earlier, was getting racial threats thrown at her, and the WNBA, they did the right thing. They stepped out and said, "Hey, we don't have this is not a part of our game." That's not our product, and we don't want fans, that wants to smear these two athletes in that way or the game itself. So, man, shout out to the WNBA for that.